I love movies that take place in the Midwest, specifically Indiana, which is where I'm from. There's a feeling I get when watching a movie that was filmed in my home state that makes it so much more engaging for some odd reason. There's a rush of excitement when I see locations and landscapes that are familiar to me. And to me, I think it's the nature of the filmmaking. I can ground the mystique of filmmaking to the actual location. I can feel the hands that made it and feel the environment. It's that feeling that makes the movie that much more engaging. Over the years, I've been slowly savoring the movies that I've been able to find that were filmed in Indiana. There's a specific list that I've been going through little by little and marking them off as I go. And with this video, I wanted to program an interesting double feature of Indiana film movies that many probably haven't heard about, but should absolutely check out at some point. Each movie contains some truly interesting and regional filmmaking that is solely its own Midwestern thing. The first movie I wanted to highlight is a movie from 1988 called Terror Squad. Filmed in Kokomo, Indiana, this Peter Maris film continues my favorite subgenre in movies, an all-in-one-day movie. This one tells the story of a group of terrorists who, after a failed terrorist bombing and a car chase through the town of Kokomo, take a group of high school students in detention hostage. There are parts of this movie that feel 100% Indiana. The towns that are separated by wide open landscapes, the miles and miles of corn in every single direction, getting stuck behind tractors on backcountry roads. I love it all, and seeing it up on screen just put the biggest smile on my face. And I'll tell you, the first couple of minutes of this movie waste no time in getting into who our main characters are and who the villains are. But then, what follows in the next 30 minutes after these introductions and the initial failed terrorist plot is one of the most amazing car chase sequences I have ever seen put on film. I'm not joking in the slightest when I'm saying that this chase is one of the best ever filmed. The French Connection, Bullet, Ronin, The Road Warrior, Fury Road, Death Proof, To Live and Die in LA, just to name a few. This movie is up there with them, and it's all contained within the town of Kokomo and the surrounding farmland. It's amazing and had my jaw open for multiple moments. Every set piece within the chase tops itself, and the specific shot choices on how to film this car chase is exactly what I was hoping the director and DP would do to make the chase even more kinetic. And I would love so much to know the story behind filming the sequence in Kokomo. There are multiple times throughout where you see pedestrians wandering the sidewalks and the streets watching the chase. And multiple times I was wondering if they even knew that this was being filmed for a movie. And it all culminates with absolute chaos raining down on the entire town of Kokomo, where you have literally hundreds of Kokomo extras running frantically throughout the streets and town square. Once the chase is over though, and the terrorists take the students hostage, it is still really enjoyable, but it doesn't quite reach the height and pure adrenaline of those first 30 to 40 minutes. As of right now, there is a version up on Prime, but it's in the wrong aspect ratio, unfortunately. I have checked and it looks like that there is a Blu-ray by Co-Red and Kino Lorber that is still available. So if you love amazing and frantic car chases, this is something that is a must watch. The next movie I want to highlight is a horror movie from 1987 called Backwoods, aka Geek. This movie tells the story of a couple backpacking in the woods of Indiana. After saving a little girl, they're invited to stay with the girl's family, but it just so happens that the father also has a son who is a chicken-biting geek with violent tendencies. Right from the opening shot, you get another very Indiana shot, where it's the central circle of Indianapolis, which is really cool to see from that time period. I would say labeling this as a slasher movie would be the wrong mindset when going in to view it. It does have elements of this, but I would say it's more in line with a very odd backwoods melodrama character piece, which then turns into a horror movie in the very last act. For the duration of the movie, you're with this group of characters on the father's property, with the actor playing the father being the standout performance. I watched this movie for the very first time more than a year ago, and there are still many aspects that I remember when first viewing it. Specifically, the last shot of the movie, which is a crazy bonkers ending that I think makes the movie. Is it an out there ending? yeah, it is, but I think it recontextualizes certain characters from the movie and turns the story into a whole new thing. It's a very fascinating endeavor from everyone that is involved. It feels like a movie that somebody could put out a really interesting edition of, especially given the homegrown nature of it all. I would recommend checking this one out. Like I said, don't go into this movie thinking it's going to be a backwoods slasher throughout. Think of it as a slow burn drama that is punctuated with a horror third act. And I think if you go in with that mindset, you'll have a good time with it. And that's my double feature. So if you want to check out these movies, again, I think Terror Squad is available on Blu-ray through Kino. Unfortunately, Backwoods, there's no HD release of this movie, so the only way that I was able to find was there's a really low quality version on YouTube, which I think it is serviceable, but I really hope down the line that it gets a proper HD re-release. And this is what I want to try and do in the future with this Midwestern movie series, is other Indiana movies that are really not seen or talked about much, and other movies that kind of fall into that criteria. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one, everyone.